I'm not gonna lie to you, I had a very hard time writing this talk today. I am a journalist, I am an RJ, I am a stand-up comedian, which means I'm basically paid to talk. That's how I make my money, and to make people laugh. But today I just knew that I had a lot I wanted to say. When I was approached to do this TEDx talk and they told me our shared future, I jumped at the chance because basically they must have read my Twitter feed. I'm very into girls and what their future in this country looks like. I also really like attention, and I figured this was a good way to get it. So here I am. But it might be hard for me to be funny today, because like the plastic that is drowning our oceans and like our Pakistani cricket team, things can be very dire in this regard and depressing. But I'm gonna try to keep it entertaining and informative. I moved to Pakistan 6 years ago, and for the first time I faced the reality that not all Pakistani girls are the same. Ignorant, I know, but that is what privilege is. When I got here, everyone immediately said, why leave, go back to the States, which is terrible PR for any country, might I say. And being an American Pakistani at this time is very strange, because in this political environment, people think American and Pakistani both, not such a great combination to have. 2 years ago, I went to London for work, and when I got to immigration, the lady behind the counter, I shit you not, said to me, looking at my passport and my ID card, "Oh, so you're running away from 2 places. That's so cute." So I got here, and life was different for girls. And I think a big part of that difference from where I grew up is rishta culture. Click. I've been told I better be good about this clicking, so. Rishta culture. So because I want this to go viral and get a little Western notice, rishta in Urdu means relationship. And rishta culture is how we get our arranged marriages going. And arranged marriages is another clickbait word I'm using so that white people click on this and I get famous. Kooky brown people, you know? So rishta culture and marriageability are holding our girls back for a multitude of reasons. But what our culture has made clear is that if you are not picked by someone or their mother, or ano, dado, hopi, whoever, to be a wife, you have failed as a girl, and your parents have failed as well. Girls in Pakistan are encouraged to be the best wife they can be. So what does that mean? You're attractive, but you don't know it, lest you have self-esteem. You are obedient, you are thin, you are fair-skinned because, you know, colonial hangovers and all that jazz. You're too young to have developed a mind of your own. You're too young to know your own power. Because if you did, you'd be harder to control and oppress. See, it's not super funny. It gets dark. So what's a good bride? She cooks, she cleans, she's a virgin who can't drive. She doesn't argue, she's complacent, she's just happy to be there, she got picked. And she knows her place. So let's go back a few years. 6 years ago I land here, I'm 24 years old, reasonably chubby, still cute. I have a blue passport and I think I'm gonna literally be like kicking aunties and uncles away. They're gonna be like, oh my God, she smells like opportunity. We're gonna get our sons married to this one. Right? Yeah. Just made eye contact with my dad. But the thing is that did not happen. 0 rishtas in 6 years, my friends. 0. And I am sort of charming and like reasonably decent. Like I always say, excuse me. I hold the door open for the elderly if they're moving fast enough. Like I'm a good person, okay? So that was very upsetting. A woman who is an expert at getting marriages done for the socially inept and well-connected once told me, Sabah, this is not the route for you because you are not conventionally attractive. That's some bullshit. Okay? And 6 years later, I'm standing on this stage and telling you I'm still single, so clearly I showed her. So why am I not conventionally attractive? I mean, I know you were all shocked to hear I was single as soon as I got up here. Mom, please raise your hand. She's right there. Go figure it out. Do something about it. But I'm unconventional for a few reasons. There's some of the obvious ones. I'm considered dark-skinned by some. I'm overweight to some, and to myself, to be honest with you. Sometimes when I wake up in the morning, this eye sort of veers that way. So I haven't gotten it checked, but I figure it can be fixed. But here's what cannot be fixed. I'm outspoken. I know what I want. I'm independent. I'm bold. I challenge authority. I'm insubordinate. I have friends who are male, and I've had friends who are male. All right? I have goals, ambitions, and dreams, and the most important part about that is I don't have anyone stopping me from going for them. I was never told because I was a girl, I couldn't do something. But girls in Pakistan are stopped from doing seemingly normal, inane things every single day. The clicker's not working. Keep going. And somehow these things are character defining. So, hanging out with friends, sitting at restaurants, sitting in public places, dating, traveling, wearing jeans. That one causes earthquakes, I don't know if you know. Going to school, studying abroad, finishing your studies once you've started them. Working, having a choice, and even having the option of saying no. And this I gathered from just one WhatsApp group yesterday. Girls in Pakistan are pulled off of fields, they're discouraged from sports, they're kept locked up and out of sight, and they're purposefully maintained a bit ignorant and naive. And again, this is because what could be easier to control than someone who has no control in their hands? This is our culture, people will yell at me. Our culture, some of you might even be thinking right now, culture is culture, how can you change culture? But my culture is reducing misogynists to tears, and often getting blocked by them on Twitter. I am up here today, a loud and proud Pakistani woman, because I was encouraged to be one. I was told from a very young age that you're gonna take no shit and you're gonna get out there and you're gonna get what you want, and it has no bearing on whether or not you're gonna end up a good woman. So that one day, when I did decide to marry, or when I stood on this stage and proclaimed my singledom to all of you, it was on my terms. In Pakistan, marriage is the end game for most girls. But my father always told us that you shouldn't get married until you are financially stable. Something that I'm sure he regrets today when both his 30-year-old daughters live in his house and are firmly in his bank account. But girls are too often discouraged from passion, joy, curiosity, and often just from being children. Boys in Pakistan get to be boys. I'm not saying there's not issues. We'll talk about Aurat March later, and that'll tell you why them not being allowed to cry is a big problem. But today, boys get to be boys. They are encouraged to go out and play and be messy and make mistakes. When they have flings or they mess up, everyone's like, hi, so cute, mera bacha, kitna cute, girlfriends bhi inke paas, date pe bhi jata hai. Oh my God, handsome. They're out, they're studying, they're traveling, they're going abroad. And you see what's happening there is that they're learning about the world around them. Pakistan, they're learning and they're carving out what they mean for that world, where they are in that world. And they're being guided towards confidence and autonomy. And why? Why is that? Why is there a difference? Because the history of a boy will very rarely affect his desirability as a spouse. They can mess up and whatnot, and it's like, yeah, but it's not something, it's fine. Kuch bhi kar sakta hai, it's fine. Do you like me speaking Urdu? I just threw that in there. I don't actually speak Urdu, so I'm glad it's working. But if a girl messes up, like say she's spotted somewhere that culture and society says she shouldn't be, in the best of cases, maybe there'll be some gossip. She's uncouth. If she's having a good time, maybe she's a slut. But in the worst of cases, we know what happens in the worst of cases. Because sadly, today, Pakistan is one of the countries that is, we're here. Pakistan is sadly one of the countries that has become a poster child for hatred and violence against girls and women. I mentioned the Aurat March earlier. I was lucky enough to be one of the fringe organizers of this. It happened in March. The Aurat March, or Women's March for the internationals, it caused quite an uproar. And a lot of the comments that came from all corners were, what more do they want? What do these girls and women want that they're not getting? Pakistan's fine. We're killing it. Everyone's happy, shut up. That's the attitude. And maybe they're right. We are the first country, a Muslim majority state, to have the first elected female prime minister. And then she got shot in the head. We are also the country that birthed the youngest Nobel laureate, who too got shot in the head. So Pakistan is not doing so hot, one might say. I don't know if you've been looking out the window or at the news or at your bills or on Twitter where I live, but this blows. If we empower girls from a young age, if we encourage the culture around their upbringing to be more focused on creating them as individuals, as opposed to creating them as someone's spouse, what would Pakistan be today? My parents, who were sitting with me as I wrote this, were talking about the 70s and 80s. My mom used to ride this is in Bindi, riding a moped to school. They'd hop on donkey carts with the school children and head to school, and everyone was happy and fun. Isn't it interesting that when you look at pictures of Purana Pakistan versus now, how different it is? And if I had planned ahead, right now behind me, there'd be some like sexy Prizia pics going on, but I didn't, so just imagine it. People are in saris and they're laughing and they're happy. And it's nuts. The female autonomy can get people so riled up. Men, women, girls, boys, everyone, they really hate it and they want no part of it. And I want that to change. It's the only way forward if 49% of the population is standing right with you. If 49% of the population was brought up to believe that they have choice and they can be a part of the world they're in, everything could be different and change, and only for the better. If young girls were told to be bold, go out and take the world, Pakistan would be stronger, their families would be stronger, and they would be stronger. I am up here today because of that very product of thinking. I'm not perfect, obviously. I still eat dairy and gluten, even though I'm allergic to them. But I work hard, and sometimes you just want lasagna. Even if it hurts your stomach and you get pimples on your face. It's worth it, I would think. But I am confident enough to be up here and tell you I'm lactose intolerant, because no one stopped me from living my life. No one stopped me from making mistakes. No one said, Sabah, I don't want you to become Sabah. I want you to become Abdul's wife one day. I was allowed to be me first. I asked a lot of men and women over the last couple of days, what would Pakistan look like today if girls were included? These are some of the answers I got. Pretty fucking awesome. Free, azad, breathable, balanced, powerful, 2 thumbs up, highly recommend. And the last one, which was sort of sad, was a dream come true. So what do I want? So when TEDx, you're supposed to come up here, you're supposed to offer solutions. I'm not crazy. I know I'm not blowing your mind or telling you something you haven't heard before. And I know this is a culture that has been standing for some time. So what do I want today? First, I want you to introduce yourself to my mom as you're leaving, okay? I made that clear. Secondly, when you're out that door and you're out in the world, I want you to really think about, have the girls in your life actually been included in this life? Take the time to see, are your sisters as free as you are? Or are you contributing to withholding that freedom? Ask your colleagues and your mothers and anyone that you're around with consent that what the hell is the deal? Do you guys actually enjoy your life, and have you been allowed to make choices for yourself? I want you to ask them, how do you see the future of Pakistan, and are girls included? Thank you.